It's swing, sing and all that jazz. And here to give you the downbeat is Henry Holloway.
Thank you, Marilyn. Hello again, dear listeners. Today's program will be different to my regular ones, and I hope you'll find something of interest in it. In recent months, I have met a number of splendid American artists in person, or through my connections like Facebook or through referrals, etc., etc. They have all kindly given me CDs to use on my programs, and this I do with pleasure. I must warn you that my usual format will change, but I do believe that this will not detract from the program. First up, that marvelous man of many talents, Bill A. Jones, based in Southern California. Television star, voice-over artist, broadcaster, and excellent singer. During a recent live taping for a television show called Music That Cooks in Los Angeles, this track was preserved for posterity. Speak to us, Bill.
Now, I grew up in Middle Tennessee, right next to the Harpeth River. Great place to grow up, I gotta tell you, except when the rains would come. Then you'd start talking to the water. You keep going your way, I'll keep going my way. River, stay away from my door. Now I've got me this cabin. You don't need a cabin. River, stay away from my door. Now you don't come up any higher. I'm all alone. You leave the bed and the fire, 'cause that is all I own. I break in your heart. Don't go breaking my heart. A river, stay away from my door. All right, let's hit it now. You keep going your way, I'll keep going my way. A river, stay away from my door. I've got me this cabin, and you don't need my cabin. Now, river, stay away from my door. Now you don't come up any higher. I'm all alone. You leave the bed and the fire. Oh, that is all I own. I'm breaking your heart. Don't go breaking my heart. River, stay away from my door. Stay away, keep away, roll away, get away, you nasty old lousy old river. Oh, river, stay away from my door.
Applause for Bill A. Jones and River Stay Away From My Door. And very nicely done too. It was my extreme pleasure to do an hour-long program with Bill in Cape Town last June. And he might just be returning to the mother city next year. Now, from new friend Bill A. Jones to old friend Carol Sloan, who lives in Connecticut. I first heard a 20-something Carol Sloan in 1967 and put her on a par with Ella. No higher praise in my book. In 1960, Carol caused a sensation at the Newport Jazz Festival, and Columbia Records grabbed her. Her first album was titled Out of the Blue, and then, on August 31st, 1962, she was recorded live at Columbia's 30th Street studio, from which session I have chosen Never Never Land.
I know time is never planned. It's not on any chart. You must find it with your heart. Never, never land. It might be miles beyond the moon, or right there where you stand. Just have an open mind, and then suddenly you'll find never, never land. You'll have a treasure if you stay there, more precious far than gold. For once you have found your way there, you can never grow old. So come with me where dreams are born and time is never planned. Just think of lovely things and your heart will fly on wings forever. In never, never
I love it. Never Never Land, sung most beautifully by a young Carol Sloane in 1962. And today, more than 50 years later, Carol still sings most beautifully. Now I welcome a most recent and most charming friend, brilliant pianist Lenore Raphael, who lives in New York City. Lenore is a Steinway star who performs all over the world, and, believe it or not, she was featured at the Jazz Festival in Johannesburg last August, together with other world-famous artists. From all of Lenore's albums that she kindly gave me, this one titled A Beautiful Friendship. Here's the title tune. A magnificently swinging, beautiful friendship, given the full treatment by my brilliant Steinway friend, Lenore Raphael. We're working on Rashid for the Cape Town Jazz Festival, Lenore. Glenn Miller Fundis will know that Nick Hilscher now leads the official Glenn Miller Orchestra, but that some years ago when my dear friend Larry O'Brien was the musical director, Nick Hilscher was the boy singer in the band. During that period they made a number of recordings together. Evidence this Van Heusen-Burke beauty, It's Always You, which Bill Finnegan had originally arranged for Glenn Miller's civilian band. Nick Hilscher singing splendidly, and the official Glenn Miller Orchestra playing faultlessly as directed by Larry O'Brien in August 2002. It's Always You. Another most charming new friend of mine is Marlene Verplank, who lives in New Jersey but who sings in many parts of the USA as well as overseas. Marlene has made so many albums over the years I've lost count. She very kindly sent me some of them recently, and I had quite a job choosing a track for today's program. How about Isn't This a Lovely Day?
The weather is frightening, the thunder and lightning seem to be having their way. But as far as I'm concerned, it's It's a lovely day. The turn in the weather will keep us together, so I can honestly say that as far as I'm concerned, it's a lovely day, and everything's okay. Isn't this a lovely day to be caught in the rain? You were going on your way, now you've got to remain. Just as you leaving me all at sea. The clouds broke, they broke, and oh, what a break for me. I could see the sun up high, though we're caught in a storm. Cozy and warm. Let the rain pitter-patter. It really doesn't matter if the skies are gray. Long as I can be with you, it's a lovely day. It's a lovely day.
Irving Berlin wrote that song for the 1935 motion picture Top Hat, and Marlene Verplank certainly accentuated the loveliness of the day. Keep up the good work, Marlene. Our one sad moment of this program. On the 5th of February, my dear friend Dr. Paul Tanner died. He was 95 years old. No famous person ever did more for me than Paul did. Read about it in my autobiography. For now, listen to Paul's beautiful trombone work on Henry Mancini's haunting Too Little Time. Tex Beneke introduces Paul.
This particular tune was the love theme from the Glenn Miller story. It is called Too Little Time, Too Little Time. And here's Mr. Paul Tanner to do it for you. Take it over here in the middle, Paul. Take it in the middle. Take it in the middle. Will you, Paul? There you go.
Whatever you say, God.
Yeah. I think that's about right.
It's your band.
It's your horn. How about that guy, huh? Isn't that pretty? Mr. Paul Tanner, ladies and gentlemen.
Ah, yes, magnificently done, Paul. Too little time, despite his 95 years on Earth. Professor Dr. Paul O.W. Tanner was an absolutely remarkable man. Bonnie Bowden is a marvelous singer who first came to my notice through a Bill A. Jones CD. Soon thereafter I was in touch with Bonnie, and she kindly sent me 2 of her albums. I zoomed into the Great American Songbook one, listened to all the tracks, and chose When Your Lover Has Gone. Billy May's punchy arrangement gave beautiful Bonnie added impetus, and combined with Einar Swan's lovely song, provided this delightful result.
When you're alone, who cares for starlit skies? When you're alone, the magic moonlight dies at break of dawn. There is no sunrise when your lover has gone. What lonely hours the evening shadows bring. What lonely hours with memories lingering like faded flowers. Life can't mean anything when your lover has gone. At break of dawn, there is no sunrise when your lover has gone. What lonely hours the evening shadows bring. What lonely hours with memories lingering like faded flowers. Life can't mean anything when your lover has gone. What lonely hours the evening shadows bring. What lonely hours with memories lingering like faded flowers. Life can't mean anything when
another splendid Southern Californian singer, Bonnie Bowden, backed by some excellent musicians of the big band alumni, performing a typically dynamic Billy May arrangement to a T. Now, a slightly different style. 25-year-old Samantha Carlson has been a fan of the golden era, and especially Ella Fitzgerald, for as long as she can remember. And although I detect contemporary flashes in her singing, there is also a lot of yesterday in her approach. See what you think as Samantha sings the Burke Van Heusen evergreen, But Beautiful.
Love is funny, or it's sad, or it's quiet, or it's mad. It's a good thing, or it's bad, but beautiful. Beautiful to take a chance, and if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. Love is tearful, or it's gay. It's a problem, or it's play. It's a heartache either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be beautiful, I know. Love is tearful, or it's gay. It's a problem, or it's play. It's a heartache either way, but beautiful. If you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful, I know.
Beautiful, sung by 25-year-old Samantha Carlson. There's hope for the world. An American critic, Grady Harp, wrote earlier this year, and I quote, "Samantha Carlson is a true find, and if you have not experienced how she can change a song to make it new and fresh, and definitely her own, this recording is a fine introduction." We now turn to half a dozen South African artists, starting with my big band buddy Clive Sharrock, with whom I've done so many gigs over the years. I chatted with Clive on the phone this week, in particular about his recording of a tune called If I Should Fall in Love Again, which I'm including in today's program. Apart from the fact that Clive and his band recorded this tune in 1970, we unfortunately have no further information. Nevertheless, enjoy this recording. Clive Sharrock and his marvellous big band in 1970 with If I Should Fall in Love Again. Lovely. Now, here's an Afrikaans vocalist who sings equally well in English. And she can swing. Her name is Anna Davel, and her musical associate, Matthijs Maria, pianist and arranger, fits perfectly into that swinging groove with Anna. Just listen to their treatment of the Sammy Cahn Jimmy Van Heusen song, Ain't That a Kick in the Head?
How lucky can one girl be? I kissed him and he kissed me. Like the fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? The room was completely black. I hugged him and he hugged back. Like the sailor said, quote, ain't that a hole in a boat? My head keeps spinning. I go to sleep, I keep grinning. If this is just the beginning, my life is gonna be beautiful. I've sunshine enough to spread. It's just like the fellow said, tell me quick, ain't love a kick in the head? Like the it's just the beginning. My life is gonna be beautiful. He's telling me we'll be wed. He's picked out a king-size bed. I couldn't feel any better or I'd be sick. Tell me quick, for ain't love a kick? Tell me quick, ain't love a kick in the head?
Well, how about that for an Afrikaans lassie? Well done, Anna Darvel. I think that even my dear late friend Sammy Khan would have approved of how Anna handled his lyrics. Talking about swing, here's an Afrikaans accordionist who had swing to his fingertips, even when playing a traditional Afrikaans melody. His name is Pietman Potgieter, and he arranged As dit nag is in die Bosveld, When it's night in the Bushveld, for his orchestra. Do pay attention to the bass notes of Pietman's accordion and the easy swing. A simple but pretty traditional ballad lovingly reproduced by the late Pietman Potgieter. And now we're reversing the procedure by asking Marita Bosman of Cape Town to sing The Shadow of Your Smile in Afrikaans. The lyrics were translated by her mother, Hetty Bosman. Hetty was a music teacher and accompanied Marita in earlier years and also translated many of her songs that she sang for radio and television into Afrikaans. Marita Bosman studied B.Mas at Stellenbosch University, where she took singing lessons with the well-known Professor George van der Spey. She recorded many classical and lighter songs for radio and television in the ensuing years. Most of these recordings were arranged by the wonderfully talented Jerry Bosman, no relation.
Jou glimlach soos 'n droom, so mooi en skoon, sal altyd my bekoor, betoor en troos, diep hier in my hart, as jy my skat, aan my oë as jy so teer en trou. My hart behoort aan jou, en jou aan my. Die drome wat ons droom, as song so lief, trane bring ons dikwels smart, maar ons sal dit ook oorwin, as ons liefde trou sal bly, en soos 'n rots sal staan. My hart behoort aan jou, en jou alleen. Die drome wat ons droom, as song so lief, trane en verlange bring, wie moet maar ons sal oorwin, as ons liefde trou sal bly, en soos 'n rots sal staan.
Well, that's a first for me. A famous American song sung beautifully in Afrikaans. Thank you, Marita Bosman, and thank you, Jerry Bosman, for the arrangement and the accompaniment. Now it's dancing time with Barry Struble at the organ, in partnership with the self-same Jerry Bosman and his guitar, and I guess being involved in all the other musical sounds you can hear on this more than 50-year-old recording. I chatted with Barry Struble a few days ago, and he sounded just as effervescent as when this recording of Tuxedo Junction was made. Barry told me that way back in 1960, Jerry was still a struggling guitar teacher, and Barry was trying to sell pianos for bothners when they one day decided to record an LP. Well, I don't know how Glenn Miller would have taken Barry Strubble's version of Tuxedo Junction, but it's certainly, as they say in the classics, in the groove. And keep jumping, Barry, it keeps you young. Oh boy, it's finale time, and as we did not start our program with a swing instrumental, we had better close with one. How about good friend Johnny Cooper and his top-notch South African big band playing my dear late friend Neil Hefty's The Kid from Red Bank? That's where Count Basie was born, so you'll have lots of splendid piano work on this Cooper recording, provided by my musical blood brother, Gavin Fullard. My goodness, Count Basie, Neil Hefty, Gavin Fullard, Johnny Cooper and his big band, all together, just marvelous. What a nice way to close a rather special program. Until the next time, God willing, all the very best to you and your loved ones. Goodbye.
Swing, Sing and All That Jazz was compiled and presented by Henry Holloway. Henry Holloway's autobiography, titled Swing, Sing and All That Jazz, is due to be published in America by Trafford Publishers and will be available on Amazon.com and at Barnes & Noble bookstores. It tells the story of a unique South African who rose from humble beginnings to become one of only 2 non-Americans in history who has been honoured with America's prestigious Golden Bandstand Award, joining Frank Sinatra, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, and 50 other American music legends. This 700-page book tells Henry Holloway's remarkable story and contains more than 500 images of photographs, articles, and letters. Contact Trafford Publishers in Bloomington, Indiana.